Hi, I'm Hannah,
Brad.
And I'm Wayne.
and we're Hannah, Gill, and the Hours, and we're hanging out with Rob at Front Row Live.
You guys are on tour right now here in the West Coast. What's this tour cycle been like for you guys?
Oh my gosh, it's been so much fun. I know, especially for me, I've never been to the West Coast before, so like everything that I'm seeing with new eyes, so it's so much fun.
Has there been maybe a favorite spot that maybe you didn't get to stop at, but you've driven through that you might want to come back to?
We went to Pacific Beach in San Diego a couple of days ago, and that was like perfect. And we're going to the beach after this, so just got to get all that West Coast beach in while we can.
Right. So is this the first tour that you guys are on?
This is the first, full tour, and first time being out on the West Coast as a band.
Let's talk about the EP that recently dropped earlier this year, Water EP. I'm curious what the production was like for this EP. Where did you guys get it recorded? Who did you guys work with as far as the producer goes?
So yeah, Hannah and I, I'm gonna give you more of the story than you asked for. Hannah moved into New York City in September of last year, and so we started writing early in September, October, and then recorded at a place called Whitewater Studios with John White, and Rich DiCiaccio. Yeah, horrible. Sorry, Rich.
He's not recording with you guys anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, yeah, I mean, like we wrote all the songs together, and it was really an organic process. We went into the studio, and they knew exactly the sound that we were going for, and they brought in a bunch of horn players, and we wrote a couple of songs in like a couple of hours. It was crazy. So it was a lot of fun, and then we had a great guy mix it, it was fun.
So first time going into the studio, what was it like for you guys? Were you guys like trying to figure out what did what, or like were you guys shy being in the studio? Because I know some artists get overwhelmed because there's so much like amazing stuff to work with.
Yeah, no, I think we were all pretty comfortable. I know Brad's been doing this for like 20 years, and so have you, and so it's like, no, everybody was really comfortable, and I think also the types of people that you work with are just so creative. So when you get in there, you feel really inspired to make new music or maybe try something that you haven't necessarily tried before in terms of like what genres you're going to do or the tempo of a new song. And so no, it's always lots of fun when we go in.
We had all the songs really solidified, and so it was. It's such a fun time being in the studio because really you just work with the producers to have the songs crafted,
right.
and somebody will throw out an idea. Like one time we were working on a song and someone's like, "I'm going to throw a baritone sax on this part." Tried it out and just killed it, and just changed the whole vibe of the song, and we went with it. So my personal favorite thing to do is be in the studio because there's no pressure. It's releasing the album that's hard,
right?
But I don't know how you feel, Wayne.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I wasn't actually with them for the creation of this. They had another trumpet player, Danny Giannacucci, with them, and so I just got to hear the product,
right.
And obviously I really love it. That's why I'm sitting here with them. But just in terms of the studio, I agree with what he says. In a sense, there's no pressure, because you get to try a bunch of different things and see what works and really live in the moment and let that guide you for your next steps.
Being that there's so many different genres out there today, what is it about this specific genre that you guys really fell in love with and why you're, this is the kind of music you're making?
Well, I love it so much because when somebody asks us to describe what our music sounds like, it's really hard for me to kind of pinpoint it. And I think that's because just the amount of people that just contribute to making these songs and their different backgrounds, it really shows through in the songs that we sing. So, if you listen, you can hear notes of pop or of like 70s rock or even blues or 1940s jazz, So there's a lot of everything.
When we started the session, we were showing John and Rich a bunch of the stuff that we had done, and we sort of did a pop thing before this, and we did kind of a jazzy thing before that, and we had done a cover of S.O.B. by Nathaniel Rateliff, and once that came on, he was like, "Oh man, this is it! It's all Hannah's voice and claps, right?" And that's what we really tried to do is just put Hannah's voice at the forefront. She's got this great sort of, somebody described it as Adele without the soccer moms, Amy Winehouse without the drugs. But she's got that low sort of vocal range, and we just wanted to accentuate Hannah's voice, and everything else was secondary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when you guys go and perform these songs live, how different are they from your recordings? Are you guys recording your music the same as you would perform it live?
Right now, they're very different. You know, when we're on this West Coast tour, we're traveling as a trio, whereas the stuff that you hear on the record, I mean, is normally like 6 or 7 different instruments. Yeah. So it's definitely a fuller sound, but at the same time, you know, when you come hear it live, it's great because it's almost like MTV Unplugged, you know, like, so it's a good, you know, balance between the two.
Cool. Now, there's 5 tracks on the EP. Can you guys briefly break down each track from the record?
Sure. So Austin was one of the first songs we wrote for the record. I came up with sort of a template and idea, and it wasn't really supposed to be on the album. It was called Austin, and just sort of throwing it out idea to Hannah, and we both fell in love with it. And so that was the first idea. You want to talk about Change in Blue?
Yeah. And then I kind of wrote Change in Blue in the beginning, and then, you know, brought it to Brad, and we it was a shell of a song, but then, you know, we took it to these great producers that we talked about before, and they really helped us make it everything that it could be. So yeah.
In the Water, same sort of thing. Hannah had an idea. She actually had like a really cool drum beat that she wanted, and she was like, so I want it to be like this. It was actually like this. No, she had a really cool drum beat, and we worked on that. You and I, a really great pianist named Bennett Pastor, sent us an idea, and Hannah wrote some lyrics to it. And Against the Wall we worked on together, and that was interesting because that was sort of a we went into the studio with the idea of having a full production, and we recorded some scratch tracks, acoustic guitar and Hannah's scratch vocals, and we were like, it sounds great, let's just throw that on there. So that's more of an acoustic vibe. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. What is it about Against the Wall? I really enjoyed that song, actually. But what is it about that song, or what is that song like mainly about? What were you writing about?
You know, it's almost a song about nothing. You know, it's funny, I don't know, that song in particular, I know we were just kind of messing around in the studio and saying the first things that came into our heads, and you know, that's kind of what came up. And I think
so is this like a freestyle version of Hannah?
Sure, yeah.
She
Definitely.
was just freestyling. Yeah, I mean, we battle a lot on the road, and I usually win because my flow is just on point. So yeah, no, God, shut up, Brad. Yeah.
So on point. Yeah.
But no, that was a really organic thing too. I mean, we were working with one of my engineer partners, Reed Taylor, and again, we had these ideas of big horns, big drums, and we just, you know, we were like, let's keep it stripped down, you know, and it works, I think. Yeah.
Now you guys are on tour right now with Brendan James. Have you guys learned anything from him? He's been on the road for quite some time as well. But is there anything that you guys picked up from his maybe touring techniques or things he does on stage or how he preps for certain things?
I mean, I will admit he's like the most gracious man I've ever met in my whole life. You know, when we're sound checking or when he's talking to the audience, he's always very appreciative, and just like you can really like just tell that he loves what he's doing just based on how he's treating the people around him. And that's, I don't know, I think that's something that people kind of forget. So it's always kind of great to see him and be like, oh, okay, you got to check yourself. You know, he's right. These are people that work really hard to help make your show all that it is. And so it's really important to, you know, appreciate that.
You can really take sound guys and stuff for granted when you're on the road and playing shows. And he is, to your point, like just, you know, he learns everybody's first name and he just compliments them. Even if a tough situation, the other night we had some technical difficulties. He was sound checking, and he just kept his head and was just super gracious. And also, I mean, they're super tight. You know, they sound really great, and you can tell he's a road warrior. You know, he's used to it. But I think we have a good mix. You know,
So again, West Coast tour is going on right now. Any plans for any more tours? Or are you guys looking to work on like a full-length album, or what's going on with the band?
So we're taking a break when we come back from the West Coast on the 12th, I think, and then we're going back out November 1st to play Detroit, and then we're going to go to Columbus, Ohio, and then we're going to take on the East Coast for most of November. And then from there, you know, I think we've been doing a lot of writing in the studio and kind of just in our hotel rooms. So I think when we get back, we're going to start working on something new. So
Now, why did you guys choose to do a West Coast tour before doing an East Coast tour, since you guys are from the East Coast?
We got the opportunity. Brendan called us and was like, "You want to do this?" And we've got a great booking agent, and as professional musicians, we just want to get out there and play for as many people as we can. And the West Coast is the West Coast. It's like a vacation, while you're on tour.
That's true. You play a show at night, but you're at the beach in the morning, right?
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah. The Northeast is a whole different ballgame. Yeah. So the weather's been great. We've been in LA for a couple days with some days off, and it's just fun to explore different towns. And what better place to do it than the West Coast? Maybe Hawaii, but yeah.
But if you go to Hawaii, you kind of have to play like on the beach or something.
Yeah, right.
You can't go to a venue after that.
Right. No.
All right, lastly, for those that don't know who this band is, what is it about you guys that's so different from many other artists out there?
I think that art is a reflection of the life that you live and the moment that you're in. And I know that speaking just of this tour, it's been a really unique experience getting to know each other really well and really putting that same energy that we gather together out into the world when we're on stage.